So I'm going to be working on the Tach today. As you can see, low power applied to it. It's sitting at about 3,650 RPMs. That's about where it's been for a long time, since it broke. So today I'm going to test it, and full disclosure, I have already done this before, and I have ordered a Tach board because I determined that that is in fact what the problem is. But if you turn the thing over, there's the back of the Tach, and I've put jumpers on here so that I can hook power up to them. This is the positive feed ground. This is the Tach feed. And I'm going to try to cheat and wire that Tach feed into my 74. Now normally you wouldn't be able to do it on a 74 because it's a points distributor and a mechanical Tach. So I have replaced the distributor on that with an HEI. So I do have a plug-in there for an electric Tach. So I'll be using that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to apply power to the power feed and the ground and show you what the results of that are. Now what I've got here is a 120 to 12 volt DC. It's got a cigarette lighter type plug on it, and I have another feed that goes in there, and I've got that wired. It's actually backwards for these jumpers, but I did it so that I could have 12 volts on my positive and then my ground separately. So you can't just take a cigarette lighter style there and plug it in. I don't think. I did wire this separately. At least I think I did. Maybe I should check that. Okay, what I want to do, since I am using a bunch of connectors that didn't come together in order to get these clips to where I can put power to my Tach, I am going to make sure that I have the correct polarity. So I'm testing this by hitting the center post with the red lead and the surrounding part, which is the ground on a cigarette lighter, with the black terminal, or the black probe. If I can get the darn things connected at the same time. It's difficult to do down inside that. It's cigarette lighter plug. Guess I shouldn't call that because maybe it's an accessory plug now. Okay, so that is positive 12.79 volts on that. Next, I want to plug this in and test the polarity on the end of that plug, which is right here. And typically the one that is not exposed is going to be the positive, so I'm just going to go right to test on that. And that is 12.79 volts. So I know that that's the positive. And then I'm going to plug in the connector with the clamps. Now here's where you can see that these came from two different things. One's a battery tender and one is who knows what. But again, testing the polarity, I'm going to first hook the black cable up to the black got the black probe underneath the black clamp on the end of that. And when I touch the red, which should be positive, I get 12.8 volts, but if you look in front of the 12, there's a minus sign. That means these are reversed. So that tells me if I connect the red probe to the black and the black probe to the red, that these are actually reversed. So this is the ground. This is the power lead. So now I'm going to hook those up to the, and this is where it's going to get difficult to film this. I'm going to hook those power leads up to the back of the Tach. Remember, we determined that the black was the, don't want to bump those together because I'll short them out and blow the fuse in the whole plug there. So that's how I'm going to hook them up, but before I do that, I'm going to turn this around so that you can see the needle of the Tach whenever I hook them up. So when I connect that, nothing's happening, and it is still working. I did not blow the fuse. So I'm a little puzzled because that's not exactly the results I got the last time I looked at this. The last time I did it, when I applied power, it moved the needle. I should have had the video on that because I hooked them up red to red and black to black, which would be negative polarity, and that's what moved the thing last time. Red to red and black to black does nothing. So it's time to take the Tach board out. I'm going to have to see if I can set up a better way to video this. Okay, there are a number of screws you have to take out in order to get this off. First, this is primarily a bracket to hold it on, but it does provide a ground over there. There's one Phillips head screw holding it to the back of the dash. Thought I'd be able to use that like a screwdriver, but not working too well. So these are very short screws. And then there's 3 screws that hold the tack housing to the back of the dashboard. Use this more like a screwdriver now that I've got them loosened. These screws are a bit longer than the ones that hold that bracket on. The one on the bottom's all the way out. Just have to make sure I don't drop it and lose it. There we go. And there's the tack out of the housing. I'm going to rearrange this and get rid of that dashboard and make it a better working area. Okay, this nose on the dowel sticks out a little further than the rest of the housing, so I've got 2 pieces of wood so that I'm resting on the housing here and not on the nose of the dowel. Okay, there's 2 more now that take this housing part off of the back. Once you get that off, these wires are going to have to come off because the board has 3 terminals that come through this plastic piece. And I believe those might be 5/16. It looks like 5/16. And they're not on all that tight. As a matter of fact, you don't want to over tighten them because then you can strip out the retaining nuts. They're just those thin sheet metal type retainers. Once you loosen those 3 screws, that whole thing comes off. And now there are 3 bolts down here, or 3 nuts I should say, and those are going to take a deeper socket, I believe. I thought I had one here. Well, maybe they don't take a deeper socket. Maybe it's not required. Once you get these 3 nuts off, the board just lifts right out. And in examining this board, when I took it out the last time, it looks like this little, I don't even know what it is. It looks damaged though. So that's probably what caused the board to fail. So I ordered this new board, and the new board is a revised version, and it's a lot smaller. Okay, it only fits on these studs one way. Based on that, it's a little bit off kilter, but it looks like the studs align, those align with it, so should be good. These, according to my instructions, that's interesting. Maybe this moved. Maybe that's why it looks like it's off kilter. Because I set it on the, I set it on these boards to keep it up off of the dial. And that rotated just a little bit. There are pins that align with the backing plate. So I guess that's a lesson learned. These don't have to be exceptionally tight. Okay, once you put those bolts back in, these pins are aligned and they stay in the correct way. Sure hope I didn't rotate this. That would be bad. I think there would be enough wire to reach to these anyway. But that might be a good time to look at the instructions just to see if there's any guidance on that. So the instructions do not give you any guidance on that. All it says is they can only be installed one way. But maybe these distances are different and those brackets can only go one way. That's a little tighter fit than I'd like to see. But it appears that it's okay. I had this all out before, and it was a lot easier to get the nuts on the first time with the original board. It says do not over tighten these. So okay, the positive lead is here. Negative lead is there. Help if I tilt it a little more towards the camera. So positive lead, negative lead. And this, I believe, is set up to only go in one way. Because of the shape of this back here. So Okay, that one will hold it in. So it looks like it's in the right way. Top. Another screw over here holding that in. Okay, I would say it's time to test this a little bit. It will stand up by itself. See what happens when we hook the power up. There we go, we have movement. Now, that is supposed to be at 0, and the needle just pulls off. And we're going to have to guess a little bit here. It's a very fine pin. There we go. I want this to go to 0 when I have power applied. So it's probably going to, oh, that's a fairly good guess. Just need to move it just a hair. Careful with that needle, it bends easily. Okay, now there's supposed to be an adjuster in here, but can't get to it with this cover on. Let's try that technique. I'm going to have to take that cover back off. Oops. Why they'd put an adjuster in, and I hope I've read the instructions properly. That adjuster is to zero it out, because I'd hate to have it be trying to adjust to the RPM, because if you had to take this all apart to get to it. Yeah, there's the little screw right there they say you can adjust it with. So I'm gonna have to set this on its side. Looks like you need one of those jeweler screwdrivers to adjust it. I don't know if the one I have out here is small enough. It's pretty small. My wire fell off. Sure hope I haven't screwed this up. I should have counted the number of turns I did so I could reset it back to where it was. Keep those in the lead. That is not making any difference. I'm afraid I may have screwed this up. So I ran a jumper wire from that car to this tach, and that is right about what the tach shows me. Thought my wire came off and it was still working, but it didn't come off, it just fell down and relocated it. So that matches the reading I get on that tach right there when I plug it into that car. So we're calling this good. I did position that needle to 0 whenever it was powered on, but no tach signal by removing the needle and just repositioning it. So I'm calling this a good repair. I'm gonna unhook this stuff and reassemble the tach. So I've disconnected the tach wire and disconnected my power supply. I'm going to remove those leads from the back of the Tach. You know what? For now, I'm going to leave these on because it'll be easier to hold it and pull it out once I've got the whole thing reassembled. So, just doing what I had done before. There we go. Why that's sitting at 6,000 RPMs, I don't know, but it was working on the car when it was connected, so I'm not touching it. So as far as that little adjustment screw, I was kind of had in my head how far I thought I turned it, and I just reset it to where I thought I had it, and apparently that was a pretty good guess since I was able to match the RPMs that the other Tach gave me on the car. So I feel pretty good about that in terms of it being in the right place. Seems to go where it wants to go. Okay, now that I've got that bolted in, I'll remove these two pins. I've already unplugged my power source. I'm going to turn off my multimeter so I don't kill the battery in it. And it's time to get the dash panel back over here so I can insert this onto the back of the dash panel. There's a couple pins here, right over here, and right over here to help you align it. And I should have 3 screws left here. I only see 2, but I'm sure the other one's right there because that's where I put them. There it is. I have to insert this bottom one into the nut driver and try and use it to get it started. a little tough to get in there. I might have to resort to some of my tricks, like putting a piece of tape or paper in there and jamming it in. If I can't get it in there. Let me get this other one started on the top before I lose some of the screws. Since I'm having trouble with this, I'm going to attempt to show you one way you can do this with any kind of bolt. I'm just going to use a piece of, it's actually a paper towel. I'm going to put that over the bolt and jam the nut driver on it. And that gives you some friction to hold it. Let's get it started a little bit. Pull that off. Get your paper out of there. Finish the job. Going to snug these up a little bit, not too much because you're screwing it into plastic. You just want them tight enough so that they're not going to work their way loose. And then the last piece that goes on, there's a little grounding tab right there that let's put the Phillips head screw in first. That will kind of help give me a hand here while I'm trying to screw in these other things by holding it loosely in place. And it's roughly lined up with the screws. I'll take the that's not going in yet. These screws are just long enough to bite into the case. Actually, I'm not having success with that one, so let's go try the other one. Got to put the tab on for the grounding on that side. that one bit. See if we can get the other one. The other one's a little bit misaligned, which is really weird since everything seems to have I see this is not on a pin that it's supposed to be on. Let's loosen this up and get that over on the alignment pin. Let's tighten the Phillips head screw down again. See how, see that's not, oh, I gotta put a little pressure upward on the tack housing. Okay, that's started. Now make sure that the Phillips head screw is snug, and then I'll just do these. Not too tight. These are into metal, so I guess they could go a little tighter, but make sure that is poking out so we can get the ground wire clipped onto it underneath the dash. And now that dash panel is ready to go back into the car. I do still have to put this side, there's a air conditioning vent. I already put the air conditioning vent on that side. And we're good to go on that. Another job I can check off on my checklist.